more.
Done.
एक और है make host. नहीं, host भी बनाना है because muting and unmuting. Acha Sudhanshu, one interesting thing, and for Dr. Hemika also, many gentlemen really want to join in. I want to see how many do turn in, because I personally got so many messages. You women ke liye to kyun kar rahi hai? And I've done at least 12 plus series now. And इतना कोई interest मैंने अभी तक नहीं देखा जो इस series के लिए मुझे specially पूछा गया है कि women के लिए specially क्यों कर रहे हो आप, men को भी क्यों नहीं कर रहे हो? मैंने कहा वाह, अभी तक कोई सवाल ही नहीं आया और आज इस टॉपिक में आपको सबको पूछना है कि ये क्यों हो रहा है. So let's see how many join on that. Not from my end, right? Okay, great. It's 7:30, so I'm starting. वो registration का भी थोड़ा आप देख लेना, because I'm not sure how I have a lot of people who've registered, but last time like we had the issue of people joining in from registration. I'm not sure वो वाला कैसे solve होगा.
I will look into it. No problem.
Thank you. Hi. Good evening in happy mental health day. I kind of like to call it mental health day. ऐसा लगता है कि कुछ कोई बहुत भारी भरकम है. I would rather like to call it mental well-being day, because we need to celebrate something positive. That's my belief, and mental well-being actually adds to that. My name is Arshpreet Kaur. I'm a mental health advocate, founder, and a speaker, and I bring to you such series where we share, discuss, and understand tips, tricks, information, whatever we can get from each other about our mental well-being, so that we can be happy, productive, and progressive in our lives. Today we have with us two special people. We have Dr. Hemika, psychiatrist, Fortis Hospital, and Roshni Barnoia. She is a coach, and she's done coaching in many areas, and one of the very tough areas, which is sales. So she's a sales expert coach there. So Dr. Hemika, first, if you can introduce yourself very quickly, and then Roshni, is that good?
Yes.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Hemika Agrawal. I'm a psychiatrist, MD Psychiatry, and I'm working at Fortis as well as my private clinic. And I'm in the field of psychiatry for the past 8 years. And it's a pleasure to be amongst all of you today here. Hope I can contribute also to this discussion.
Hello everyone, I'm Roshni Paronia. I'm based out of Gurgaon, and I have been an entrepreneur for 12 plus years. And yes, like Ashpreet said, that I work with a lot of women, helping them to grow their business by helping them with sales and improving their skills at selling. So yeah, today I am here to share my experiences that I've had with working with so many women and my personal experiences. And like Ash said, it's a mental well-being day. So let's work towards it collectively.
Thank you. Thank you. Very quickly, and so like I mentioned earlier, this video is being recorded. This discussion is being recorded for educational purposes, and we're primarily trying to get get more out of whatever little interaction we have, so that we can help more people. That's the idea behind recording this, and it will be shared to YouTube, and anyone else wants it personally also, they can reach out to us. So that's how it is. So we had a set of questions where I wanted to start with, but I want to start with something very special here. Mental Health Day, and I've seen a lot of wishes go around. Hemika, how do you see this day? I mean, how has it been different? Has it been like an everyday? Was there some halchal in the doctors community? How has it been for you today?
Yeah, I was pleasantly surprised this time to have been wished a World Happy Mental Health Day by many people, including non-medicals. So it's a definite indicator of awareness being there. People are aware, people are celebrating. I think it should be celebrated every day. And as we said, it should not be just a mental health day, but a positive terminology should be used. But even then, people being aware about it, wishing each other, is a positive indicator, and I would like to see the glass half full, right?
Yes, absolutely. Roshni, again, from a very different set of world, you from the world of entrepreneurs, have you felt any vibes, any, I've been a watcher today, actually. I've just been observing. What has been your observations today?
Oh, definitely, Ash, within the entrepreneurial community, at least, there has been a huge conversation about how every entrepreneur is managing their own emotions and mental well-being, because being an entrepreneur myself, I know how lonely that journey gets, and just to be able to manage through it, navigate through it by handling your emotions, which we didn't have a terminology for probably in the earlier time. We didn't knew it was mental health, but yes, now the awareness is so much that we are confidently calling and it that and talking about it and paying attention to it. That's more important.
That's more important. Yeah. So, and that's the reason why I asked, because if there is a conversation, if there are people who are aware, all the efforts that we are doing, we will see a very beautiful result. But so it might be fun to say ignorance is bliss, but we cannot really bring a change when there is total ignorance. So thank you. Yeah, that was wonderful. And from there, let's come to our topic of women per se, and sleep. Sleep is so we're promoting sleep as a fourth pillar of health. And when we say fourth pillar, we consider diet or nutrition as a first pillar, breathing, or maybe also connects to the emotional health as the second pillar, exercise or any sort of movement as the third pillar, and then sleep as the fourth pillar. So, we're trying to connect between these, and then we as our special selves, the women that we are. It didn't need me a lot of time to think what I need to write on the creative, actually speaking. But हम Women's Day celebrate करते हैं, and that's exactly what I wrote. जब ये topic आया women के लिए हम क्या कर सकते हैं, मैं कहा यार women के लिए क्यों करना है? वैसे तो कोई पूछता ही नहीं है. Have you experienced that as well? And now this is a very personal question. क्या आपको, Hemika, and not a new doctor, but you're just an upcoming doctor. You've studied, spent so long studying. What are the moments that you felt कि हाँ किसी ने पूछा यार सो रही है properly? How many moments do you remember? Or is there anything that you want to tell about?
See, from the background I come from, my parents have never discriminated gender-wise. They have been very supportive with me as well as my brother. So this is something I've seen outside of home. Like when I went out to college, I saw other people telling about the discrimination at home, and I heard stories from the patients as well about the discrimination. So I got to know about it. I think I'm a little privileged that way. But I've seen enough in the course of 8 years. I've seen enough in the OPDs and in the stories to see that there is a stark discrimination in the society, rampant discrimination, and which needs to be addressed. It's a serious issue and point of concern.
Point of concern. And Roshni, what about you? Do you share the same? See, I mean, and with you, it becomes a little special because we both are mothers. So
Yes.
we have that, one side of aspect.
Yes. Yeah. So you are asking us like why we are even talking about women and sleep together, and I think this is a very important topic that we should be talking about, because females के साथ ये ज़्यादातर होता है that they think that they are very good multitaskers and they take on more than they can manage.
Yes.
And it happens often as a mother myself. ऐसा होता है कि हम रात को सोते टाइम ये टेंशन ले रहे होते हैं कि अगले दिन टिफिन में क्या बनाएंगे. So we are not able to have that kind of sleep, the good quality sleep, which can rejuvenate us, which can refresh us. So कभी भी हमारे यहाँ कोई गेस्ट आ रहे हैं या कोई ज़्यादा वर्कलोड हो रहा है, इवन ऑफिस में काम हो रहा है, so the first thing that goes out of the window is our health and our sleep. So because probably sleep is something which is very private to every individual. and that's why I think वो हमें लगता है कि हमारी पूरी authority है उसके ऊपर, तो चलो इसको इस पे से थोड़ा सा cut down कर लेते हैं, and we cut down on our sleep. And that's why I think it is so important for women to talk about this.
I'll take a very audacious stand here. मैं थोड़ा bold होके बोलूंगी कि I think world takes us for granted, at least 90% of us for granted, and we take our sleep for granted.
Yeah, exactly.
Or our health for granted. That brings us to very interesting aspect. We just spoke to Ragini. She's a student. She's here. I just had a word with her. We've got variety of people here. Hemika, my question is this: that women, we do so many things, but how can we take care of ourselves? बहुत simple लगता है ना question यार. अपने आप का beauty routine बोलने में हमें कितना आसान लगता है कि यार पहले cleanse करो, फिर scrub करो, फिर हल्का सा मालिश करो, mask लगाओ, and you're okay. So that's our beauty regime for anyone, and आजकल we pass it. But for women to take care of themselves and specifically their mental health, is this a big thing to start with, or is this a right thing to? What's your take?
It is a very big thing, but to start with, it's a very important thing as well. It should not at all be ignored. And of course, as just was being discussed, women tend to ignore their mental health, and sleep is a very important aspect of mental health. So they need to focus on their sleep and overall well-being also. Women have two differences from men: biological as well as social. Biologically, they are different, but we also have a different gender role. So the different gender role also sometimes adds to the stress and adds to the problems in handling the mental health. So one needs to overcome that. One needs to see beyond that and focus on one's mental health without guilt. Women often feel very guilty paying attention to themselves or their mental health. They are made to feel guilty, and sometimes they are tuned to feel guilty, and they do it subconsciously or unconsciously. So we need to bring them out of that cocoon and make them realize that it's not wrong to focus on one's mental health. And once we identify the problem, the solution comes later on, much later on. First we need to identify and then absorb exactly what the extent of the problem is, what the problems are, and come out and speak about and share about it.
Absolutely. I think absolutely. And you bring two very relevant points. First is, one, be aware that you need to take care of yourself. एक तो ये हमें पता होना चाहिए कि हमारे हाथ में ही ये रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी, हम ये किसी और के पास नहीं है जितना कि हम फेस को करते हैं. एंड दूसरा ये है कि हमारा गिल्टी नहीं फील होना है, क्योंकि बहुत जल्दी आई थिंक हम एक गिल्ट जोन में चले जाते हैं. द मिनट वी ट्राई एंड स्टार्ट प्रायोरिटाइजिंग आवरसेल्व्स, I guess we should not do that. We should not do that. Thank you. Roshni, this question is to you. And primarily because a lot of women are coming today into the entrepreneurial world. And the medical field is not different. But in the entrepreneurial world, there are more challenges, I would say, because it's very unorganized. एक तो family को ही खुद से खड़ा करना है. There is a structure, but in the end, you get married, you become a team, and then you build your own larger team. You have to set your rules and all that. I think organization bhi खड़ा करना equally मुश्किल है. What is that thing you would tell to women actually to stay strong here? I don't want to tell you why, because men can do this. मैं वहाँ जाना नहीं चाहती.
नहीं, I totally get it. Yeah, but nonetheless, it is a very broad question. But to stick to the topic that we are discussing here, it's more towards self-care and sleep and how we manage ourselves and mental well-being. So keeping to that perspective, of course, whenever women enter into the entrepreneurial world, I see एक बेसिक डिफरेंस कॉर्पोरेट या जॉब में और एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में ये रहेगा कि जॉब में यू हैव अ फिक्स्ड रोल एंड एक डिफाइंड वर्क है आपके पास जो कि आपको करना होता है. जब आप एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप में आते हो, यू थिंक दैट यू विल बी योर ओन boss and have flexible hours, but you end up working 24/7 for every time. So वो जो एक balance होता है ना कि हम जब काम पे हैं तो 100% काम पे हो और जब हम अपने बिजनेस में काम कर रहे हैं तो 100% उसमें हो. ये एक डिफरेंशिएशन ला पाना पहले बहुत critical होता है for every woman. Secondly, if she is a mother when she is entering into entrepreneurship, तो वो जो mommy guilt होता है that you are snatching away time from your family and your child and then giving it to your business which no one else is asking you to do. तो वो एक जो guilt होता है उससे you have to like struggle through. And yeah, and thirdly, as a consequence of this intention of filling this gap that we have created, हम अपने सेल्फ केयर को गिव अप करते हैं, हम अपनी स्लीप को गिव अप करते हैं, हम अपनी पर्सनल केयर को गिव अप करते हैं, हेल्थ को बैक सीट में डाल देते हैं, which actually are the things which will give you the energy to go ahead. Like आप पहले पूछ रहे थे अर्श, like beauty regime है, so that way you need to have that self care routine holistically where sleep is a part of it. You should have your sleep rituals also, in the sense that get into the mode of that yes, I am going for sleep because वो एक recharge करने की activity है, it's recharging sleep. So जैसे आप किसी पार्टी या इवेंट में जाने के लिए अपने आप को प्रिपेयर करते हो, तो प्लीज प्रिपेयर योरसेल्फ टू गो टू स्लीप, चेंज योर क्लोथ्स, वॉश योर फेस, ब्रश योर टीथ, और थोड़ा सा essential oil लगाओ, put heavy curtains so that outside light doesn't come in. So these things just, I think Hemika is a better judge
yes,
for that.
I was also going to say
मतलब पर psychologically हमें लगता है कि okay, now we are getting into the sleep, our mind slows down, हमारी overthinking जो हमारा दिन भर में हम करते रहते हैं as entrepreneur, oh my god, an entrepreneur has like 100 new ideas every day. So उस चीज को slow down करना बहुत
Hemika, yes, scientifically हमें ये समझाओ, because ये हमारी you know between friends वाली conversation हो जाती है और ये हमेशा होती ही होती है, but can you tell us scientifically कि क्यों ऐसे you know slow down करना जरूरी है, what is it, how do we actually have a sleep routine? If I'm asking the right question, Hemika, if you can tell us.
I'll answer this question, but I'll start from the topic. Firstly, hats off to the entrepreneurs here. They have immense responsibility and they need a lot of social support also to continue with their work, which a structured job profile does not need. So, and sometimes when you have that responsibility, it starts interfering with the sleep, and the process of going to sleep is interfered with. So now coming to the technical thing, see, when we fall asleep, we are not machines. We don't switch on or switch off ourselves and go to sleep or wake up. It's a gradual process. Technically speaking, there are phases of sleep. There is initially non-REM sleep, non-rapid eye movement sleep, which later on goes on to REM sleep. A person usually needs between 6 to 10 hours of sleep in a day. There are people who can sleep in less than 6 hours and they are fine. Sometimes people need a little more than 10 hours. So there are short sleepers and long sleepers. But the average duration is 6 to 10 hours. And how that happens is a person spends 1/3 of their life during sleep. It is very important to recharge. If we do not sleep, it can deteriorate our physical functions that can even lead to death ultimately. So while falling asleep, the bodily functions are usually seen to slow down. The respiratory rate is slowed down. The muscle tone is usually relaxed. If this does not occur, then it starts interfering with the process of sleeping. And then the sleep also has its various phases, like non-REM sleep, REM sleep, dreams occur in the last phase of sleep. Then this whole cycle repeats around 7 to 8 times in a night. And this also varies from person to person. So there are many phases of sleep. Technically, it is divided into many phases, and the duration of each phase is important. And if the duration and the ratio between these phases is disturbed, the sleep freshness of a person is experiencing, that can be hampered. the onset of the sleep can be a problem. People might come and complain of insomnia, that they have problems falling asleep. Sometimes people come and say that they have problem falling asleep, but once they go to sleep, they're fine. Sometimes people complain that they do fall asleep, but then they are so light sleepers that they wake up at the slightest of sound. So there are many sorts of problems, but these problems can overall be contained by maintaining good sleep hygiene tips. If you want, I can go into the basic tenets of the tips. Like while going to sleep, we should have a very comfortable environment. For women, it is
Sorry, Hemika, and we are moving into sleep hygiene. So we spoke about sleep routine. That is, हमें कुछ ऐसी चीजें करनी चाहिए सोने से पहले that makes us sleep comfortable, and then it is sleep hygiene that we are speaking. Is this same that for both men and women, or is it something different for women? मैं ये question इसलिए पूछना चाहती हूँ because the theme of this actually is women. और जब हम ऐसे blank में बोलेंगे कि ये routine है, तो people tend to think कि ये X gender के लिए हमारे लिए तो है नहीं, ठीक है करना है. So that's why I'm specifically asking you कि क्या ये ladies के लिए अलग होगा और men के लिए अलग होगा? Sleep routine हो या फिर sleep hygiene हो?
Sleep routine or sleep hygiene के basic tenets, they are the same for everybody. The problems studied are different. The problems, the percentage of problems, the type of problems which the two genders present with, they have been noticed to be significantly different. But the methods of maintaining sleep and improving sleep or the basic hygiene tests, they stay the same. The treatments usually stay the same. The problem statement differs in both the cases.
In that case. Okay, thank you. So solution same होएगा, but problem statement कहीं ना कहीं specific to the gender होएगा. Yes. So so you were talking to us about the sleep hygiene. If you can touch base on that. Good sleep hygiene क्या according to what is it?
See, this is sleep hygiene applies not only to people who are experiencing problems, but even to people who claim themselves to be normal. And having a good hygiene prevents future problems in sleep also. Like few basic tenets are going to sleep at the same time and waking up at the same time, trying to fix the clock or circadian rhythm at a fixed time. Then having some exercise in the day, preferably during the first half of the day, vigorous exercise, and avoiding vigorous exercise in the second half of the day. Then avoiding caffeinated or nicotinic drinks or smoking and cold drinks which have caffeine and nicotine, because these are stimulating and they interfere with the sleep later on in the night.
Yes.
Then avoiding heavy meals during the night time. This is very important. And mild exercise at the night time is okay. In the evening, like a brisk walk in the evening is fine. Then one can have hot water baths before sleeping. And one very important thing in today's world is to tune off all electromagnetic radiation as much as we can, which is from our phones and gadgets like laptops, television, etc. Our screen time should be reduced. Post 8 p.m. in the night, we should switch off. Ideally, we should switch off all our gadgets and stay away from this radiation. We should opt for books which do not have radiation, either books or listen to radio, which is not very practical, but something like that on those lines. These are the basic
soothing, थोड़ा सा कुछ soothing हो जाए, थोड़ा relaxing हो जाए, ना कि आपको excite करे. I think that's the difference.
Yes.
Nice. You used a very interesting term. I don't think many believe in it. I think that even Wi-Fi has electromagnetic rays. I believe that. But yeah, electronic devices. So I'm just summing up what you said, Hemika, and maybe you can tell me if I missed something. So first is stick on to a routine, even for the sleeping. That is, go to bed on the same time, get up on the same time. वो टाइमिंग कोशिश करें कि हम चेंज नहीं करें. सेकंड ये है कि dim light environment काम आपके लिए when you're going to sleep. Specifically electronic interference ना हो तो वो बेहतर रहेगा. ये है. And what about the fluid intake? Some people have a habit of like drinking a lot of water and then getting up in between nights, may not fall asleep. How do we manage that?
Fluid intake during the day is very important. It benefits the sleep generally, but people with excessive whom specifically taking water at the night interferes with sleep by like tea breaks, frequent tea breaks. So they should avoid heavy caffeinated drinks or a lot of beverages before sleep.
Before sleep. We have two questions right now, one from Meenakshi and one from Deepak. So I'm going to take that question and then we continue on our conversation. Would that be okay? Yeah. Meenakshi, hi, can you hear me? If you can unmute and ask, thank you.
Yes, Ashpreet, I can hear you.
Thank you.
Can you tell me exactly what hygiene sleep is?
See, sleep hygiene, as we call it, like we have dental hygiene, now we have mask hygiene in COVID times, we have sleep hygiene. Sleep hygiene are the various methods and habits which we can inculcate in ourselves so that we can have a healthy lifestyle which pertains to sleep primarily. Good sleeping habits. In short, good sleeping habits are called as sleep hygiene.
Good sleep habits, जैसे किसी को नींद ही ना आए तो उसका क्या मतलब?
That is a problem. That is a problem. If one has a problem, one should seek help. But sleep hygiene or good sleeping habits can be inculcated by normal people also who do not have problems, because they in general boost holistic well-being, and they are also preventive for future problems. So a person who does not have problems can also follow sleep hygiene tips. But if one has a problem, one has specific problems like insomnia or problems falling asleep or problems maintaining sleep, then I would say that sleep hygiene itself is not enough. One should seek help of a mental health professional like a psychologist or a psychiatrist.
Well, I just because she asked me this, maybe I'll take Deepak. You had a question as well. Meenakshi, are you? Does this answer your question? जो Hemika ji ने बताया, does it answer your question?
Yeah.
Thank you, Meenakshi. Deepak, you had a question.
Ma'am, hi Ashpreet. You focus on one that is that less sleep at night, and another is also the quality of sleep, because as the lady tell that when you sleep, so there is always the tension about next day tiffin mein kya layega, and also they wake up early in the morning, 4, 5, and because of which the people who the ladies which sleep which are not able to sleep well at night, they sleep at daytime. My question is it to the psychiatrist, is it good to sleep in the morning, daytime sleepiness? Because I heard somebody saying that daytime sleep is basically toxic in nature.
See, here I would say that all sleep is not same. Sleeping in the morning, there are studies which say that quality of sleep in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, in the night, it's all different. And a normal, regular, healthy sleep pattern is usually the one where a person takes a chunk of sleep in the night and may or may not have some short daytime naps. But the tendency which we see today to skip sleep in the night and trying to adjust it in the daytime, it's unhealthy because it's not natural. It does not give the whole expected sleep cycle. The normal sleep cycle consists of a variety of phases. It has 4 phases of non-REM sleep, 1 phase of REM sleep, and this cycle is this cycles around 7 to 8 times in a night. We need this thing in a whole stretch. If we have to sleep for 8 hours and 24 hours, we cannot do that we sleep for 2 hours and 4 shifts. That's not the same as sleeping for 8 hours in 1 shift. And the quality of the sleep is different. A person might not feel refreshed, as a person feels when he sleeps in a chunk, and the quality of the sleep is also inferior. So we should not try to interfere with our natural sleeping processes, and whatever our body tells us naturally to do is usually the right thing to do. So we should follow our natural instincts, and as all animal kingdom does, that they sleep at night and work during the day or are active during the day, we should try to follow it as much as possible, because that's the healthiest way of sleep.
Thanks.
I would like to just add a point here that yes, like Dr. Hemika mentioned that the quality of the sleep is best ensured when you have that stretch of 8 to 9 or 10 hours of sleep. But like the gentleman said that probably the morning or the daytime sleep is toxic. I have not come across that statement personally, but I feel that power naps during daytime work very well, especially if like women are having a lot of heavy work. They are having they are new mothers and having the responsibility of taking care of a child. I think daytime naps act as that little mobile charger kind of a thing that you get that instant recharge. Yeah, हमने 3 Idiots movie में भी देखा था ना वो 7-minute का power nap. So I think it really works well for women who have very disrupted sleep patterns during the night for whatever reasons. तो मुझे लगता है वो sense में वो help करता है if that schedule allows that.
Yeah, and you made an amazing point there. What's the concept of power nap? अगर हम कहते तो हैं but इसका हमें पीछे नहीं पता क्योंकि I don't know if any of these cycles even play out during a power nap. I don't even know that. So what's this concept about power nap? ये क्या होता है? Basic, simple. क्या है? Dr. Hemika, if you can tell us.
Yeah, see, power nap, the concept is quite controversial. A lot of people come and say that it helps them. But for a few, it can be counterproductive as well. It can interfere with their next night's sleep. A lot of people come in OPD and they tell us that if we take a power nap, we'll not be able to fall asleep. That's ensured. So we need to individualize the needs as well. For women who are sleep deprived, especially, power naps can be a boon. But for the minority where it starts interfering with the sleep cycle and they don't need it, it's a bane. So we should avoid them and individualize the needs.
So little more on this one. ये power nap होता क्या है? When I said होता क्या है, I just wanted to know कि 7 minute का था अपने 3 Idiots में. तो ये इसका क्या कोई time है? Power nap आप ideal कहोगे कि so there are sometimes, and मैं example के साथ ही कहती हूँ कि मैं काम कर रही हूँ तो एकदम से मुझे लगता है कि पलकों में नींद बैठी हुई है, and then I just lie down for some time and I get up, I'm like यार ये तो मजा आ गया. That happens.
वो actually होती है वो not more than 10 minutes. It happens not more than 10 minutes. But वो हमें feel होता है कि वो इतनी deep sleep होती है कि वो मतलब हम कहीं वो dreams और वो REM वाले में जा रहे होते हैं probably.
But, so that's what it could be specific for one person to another. जैसे आप तो cases भी देखते हो इससे related. तो what is an ideally एक power nap क्या होता है? कितने देर का होता है? ये नहीं क्या 1 घंटा सो गए. I'm assuming, I don't know if power naps can be for 1 hour long also. I don't know that actually. Can you tell us a little more?
I would actually emphasize again that there is no definition of a power nap. It's not that I'm citing the definition. There is no definition.
It's personalized.
One is the definition for them, and the the average cycle is usually of 80 to 90 minutes.
80 to 90 minutes.
That rotates 8 to 9 times in a night or in a full stretch of sleep. So one should ideally have one cycle while feeling refreshed. But that this duration varies from person to person. A person can complete that cycle in 10 minutes and another person might take 2 hours to complete that cycle. So we need to have that complete cycle of non-REM and REM sleep. The combination of sleep which does not have dreaming and the other one REM which has dreaming. That combination, if the cycle is completed, that is most refreshing. So there are no ways to quantify them, but then loosely we can say that whatever suits you, whatever makes you fresh, if you get refreshed in 10 minutes or 7 minutes, it's good enough for you. Some say that we can't sleep for less than an hour at a time. Our power nap is of an hour. So let's not force them to take a 7 minute nap.
So whatever the body is comfortable. आप ये कह रहे कि body और mind अगर refresh होके उठ रहे हैं.
Because there is a variation in needs also.
need. I'm going to go specifically into, again, coming back to women. There are many a times that women is really asleep also, but because of her duties that she has at home or whatever her requirement is to be present, she's not able to fulfill that sleep.
Yes.
How can it affect her? Productivity तो hit होती है वो, but beyond that bodily वो कैसे affect होता है?
See, if sleep is not proper in a woman especially, it can play a havoc. It can disturb her chemicals, it can disturb her hormones also, and appetite can be disturbed. There can be hypersomnia, increased sleepiness during the day. The feeling to fall asleep can be there. A person might feel fatigued more. There can be lot of errors at the workplace because of cognitive impairment. And then there could be irritability, tiredness, fatigue, body aches, and other mood problems. If the sleep deprivation is prolonged, it can also lead to severe mental illnesses like a severe depressive episode, which might need drug medicine treatment as well. So sleep is very important, and chronic deprivation should be avoided at all costs. And many times busy women do not realize that they have sleep deprivation. This happens with both, but with women this happens more frequently, that they don't realize that they are deprived, and they come to OPD with problems of fatigue, body ache, irritability, and when we explore by questioning them, we realize the problem lies in inadequate sleep, which is willing on their part. It's not that they're unable to fall asleep; it's that they don't have the time to sleep. The schedule is very bad.
Not taking any names, and I found this case very interesting. It was shared to me at an IVF clinic, wherein actually the couple went on to deliver, have a child naturally without any treatment, just because the sleep, the lady, she got into a proper sleep habit and the stress got released. And then they did not need any further treatment, and it was some sort of like, so अब तो हम ये भी कर रहे हैं कि mental counseling भी कर रहे हैं. It was made a joke of, but वो severity कहीं ना कहीं lost हो गया था. Would you agree that this was a fact, or it was just a conversation?
It is reported that good sexual activity can boost sleep both in men and women. Although men report greater satisfaction, sleep satisfaction post-coitus than women, but it's present in both. It is reported in both men and women.
And stress, how does it affect?
And a good sexual activity or orgasming can relieve stress and promote holistic well-being as well.
Holistic well-being as well, yeah. Because that came as a very surprise, see where we were. That why this difference? Why this difference in men and women? So why is it so? Ladies में ऐसे क्या है कि ये sleep ना मिलने से इतने सारे हमारे में problems आ जाते हैं. और जबकि मैन में कम है, मुझे पूछना है बट मैं नहीं पूछूंगी अभी, बट व्हाई इज इट सो मच दैट हमारे इसमें स्लीप नहीं मिल रही है तो वो दिक्कत करती है?
See, जो studies है, honestly, if I be very honest, be brutally honest, studies report that women tend to report their sleep problems more than men, and men at times undergo a lot of sleep problems, but they don't report it as much. So recommendations of further studies are that we use objective methods of sleep measurement rather than just subjective reporting, because women tend to pinpoint their problems on sleep more, and this increases with age. As a woman ages, in elderly women, there is a stark difference in men and women coming with complaints. Women come with complaints of sleep problem more after 50, after menopause, as compared to men. And on further questioning, we realize that women are sleeping better than men, but complaining more. I'm not accusing, but this is a statistical finding.
Statistical finding, interesting. Roshni, here I would like to ask you, because we are at very interesting. आपको क्या लगता है when you've been working with both sets of the gender, and आपको कौन ज़्यादा tired लगता है? Because for you, I think you will assess, a female by the productivity and the work that she does, the output and the male. तो आपका इसमें क्या take है?
So पहले तो workplace पे जाने से पहले तो I would like to give a like at home example only. So we recently, my mother bought for herself a fitness band जो होता है, And she was very confident that मैं तो 6 घंटे की sleep लेती हूँ and I don't have any problem sleeping and all. और जब fitness band में ना वो breathing का एक recording भी होता है, they record your breath. तो उसमें 7 breaths लेने हैं, सिर्फ 7 breaths, deep breath, inhale and exhale. और वो 7 breath लेते में ही वो she dozed off. And I was like, ये है sleep deprivation. She isn't realizing also that she isn't having deep sleep. वो उनको बस psychologically ये है कि हाँ मैं तो 6 घंटे सोती हूँ. वो कैसे सो रही है, क्या सो रही है, deep sleep है नहीं है, whether she is recharging herself or not, she is not aware of that. और वो बस 7 breaths में वो she dozed off.
She dozed off.
तो ये बहुत important aspect है that as women age, they probably are not recognizing that they are sleep deprived. It is a like earlier I mentioned कि वो इतने multitasking कर रही होती है कि वो realize भी नहीं कर रही होती है कि मेरे को sleep की कमी हो रही है, and they are just living their lives like that. Coming to the workplace, yes, of course, that is something where I see it as manifested as like low productivity, triggering छोटी-छोटी चीजों पे, like मेल नहीं भेजा है या कोई छोटी सी चीज उनसे मांगी है ये टाइम पे दे दो टाइप से, and they just get triggered कि सभी कुछ मुझे को करना होता है क्या, मैं ही दिखती हूँ तुम्हें काम कराने के लिए.
Yeah, so there, you know that there is a background then.
So वो tape कुछ और चल रहा होता है background में, but वो manifest ऐसे होता है that yes, everything is coming down on them. So it is sleep deprivation because they are not able to recharge themselves.
And I think that also answers the fact that Hemika ji just said that एक हम vocal बन जाते हैं, naturally vocal बन जाते हैं, कहीं ना कहीं हमें feel होता है कि हमारे ऊपर ही की बार, and मैं generally word use कर रही हूँ हमारा, मतलब as in women feel that they've been carrying it and carrying it and carrying it, and then they burst out somewhere in one place or the other. So we have another 20 minutes to go, but if there are any questions, I also put in the chat, if you can ask or raise hands, then we can take that. Else we continue with what I had to ask on this. So we covered on a couple of things. First, we covered on what is a sleep routine that we need to adopt. And we also touched base on the sleep hygiene that we needed to have. And idea is to have it for every day. Coming from there, the next thing that I wanted to ask, we spoke of the gender difference also. Women को support कहाँ से मिल सकती है? Believe me, we're not very good at supporting our own kind. Sorry, but maybe हमारी अपनी ही मजबूरी है, but we're not very good at supporting our own kind. But what are the other ways? And when I mean support is, how can she make time for herself also, could be another way of putting it, to get this basic sleep requirement. And Gun will come back to you. Yeah. Hemika, maybe you can.
See, as you mentioned that women are not very good at supporting other women, and at times I see women speaking out and giving their own examples as to how they are managing and multitasking and how other women should follow the lead. So that's very bad for the psyche of the women who are not able to do that. And yes. They are not weaklings, or they should not be labeled as weaklings or not the perfect women sort of people, because that further increases their problems. So we should be sympathetic towards the people who are not conventionally up to the mark. Again, I am emphasizing on conventionally because I don't believe that it's up to the mark.
Yes.
It's the definition of being up to the mark. So again, one should focus on one's own problems, guilt-free. One should seek help, and if there is a doubt regarding one's mental health issue or sleep problem, one should come out and speak. One should discuss it with the people, the resources available around us. And a woman should not hesitate in discussing her problems with her near and dear ones, her husband, her family, her parents, her in-laws, or anybody who's available, and they should seek help as much as possible. Right.
Yeah, I agree to Dr. Hemika. Like first and foremost, of course, अगर sleep से related कोई issue है तो अपने फैमिली एंड नियर एंड डियर वंस का सपोर्ट तो लेना ही पड़ेगा, स्पेशली लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल न्यू मदर्स हैं अगर, तो बच्चे को नहीं पता डे एंड नाइट रूटीन्स, और हम एज ह्यूमन बीइंग्स या हमारी फैमिली का भी लगता है कि नहीं दिन में तो काम करो और रात में सोना है. वी हैव दिस कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ डे एंड नाइट, सो वी टेंड टू फॉलो दैट, which of course leads to sleep deprivation for the new mothers. And तो इसलिए फैमिली को भी ये समझना चाहिए कि हाँ अगर दिन में वो सो रही है तो वो अपनी स्लीप की नीड को पूरी भी करना उसके लिए जरूरी है. So we tend to label people as lazy or not, like Dr. Hemika said, not up to the mark. तो वो एक कॉन्सेप्ट थोड़ा सा हमें रीथिंक करना पड़ेगा as to what are the sleep requirements of every person according to their schedules, their personal requirements.
Get that. I have a question, follow-up question on what we discussed, but first we'll hear from Gun and then we'll come back. Gun, you had a question.
Hi, thank you. Hello, everyone. So I have two questions. It's not actually one, but two questions. First question is, why do people snore? And what can be done about it? Because my husband snores like a maniac and I can't sleep, and I'm a very light sleeper. So because of that, I can't sleep, and of course it's affecting me. And I'm also a recovering cancer survivor. So my sleep has become more lighter. I mean, I'm जरा सा भी खट होएगा मैं एकदम से आंखें खोल दूंगी. पहले इतनी लाइट स्लीपर नहीं थी, पर अभी हो चुकी हूँ. So I would like to know how I can help myself and sleep more better.
Dr. Hemika, I guess this directly comes to you.
This is a very important question, and we were going to move on to this topic as well. See, snoring usually results from weak pharyngeal muscles, the muscles around the area from which we breathe, nose, mouth, etc. They become weak and flaccid. It usually occurs because of weight gain. It is not the only cause, but the major cause. The major cause is weight gain. And because of the weakness and laxity in the walls of the nasal passage, as we take in air, the muscles, they reverberate. And when they reverberate, they make a sound which comes out as snoring. And also it can obstruct the airway. When the movement of the muscles is too much, it can stop the airway for more than 10 seconds. And if that happens, we call that obstructive sleep apnea, which is linked with many medical disorders and should be looked into by a specialist. Sleep studies should be done for that. So if a person is snoring so loudly that it's disturbing other people, that person should be explored on the lines of obstructive sleep apnea immediately. And it's not only for the health of the other people around them, although that's also important, but it's also important for the health of the person who's snoring so loudly.
Yes.
In short, it's probably oxygen, air deficiency or oxygen deficiency. So
Okay.
we need to rule that out.
So before we take any kind of medical help, can something be done at his end, like a deep breathing or something?
Weight loss is the most effective way which is seen, because weight loss tends to put the tone of the muscles, the nasal passage muscles back, and the excess fat is removed from that area by losing weight, and that is the most effective way. Otherwise, people go in for surgery. But surgery is the second option. First is good physical health and good exercising and losing weight.
The question that I actually had was in continuation, and I think Gun brought it to a beautiful juncture. How do we initiate these conversations? ऐसी जब बातें करनी होती हैं, चाहे हम देखो हमारे फैमिली में हो सकता है हम फिर भी एम्पावर्ड है, जो भी यहाँ पे हैं सुन रहे हैं उनको एक आइडिया तो अब होगा ही होगा, बट अगर हम आगे जा रहे हैं किसी और में कोई कमियां देख रही है, फिर हमें वो बताना है कि नई मदर है, नई बहू है, बहुत सारे चेंजेस हैं, कोई बात नहीं वो लेट उठेगी, ऐसा नहीं कि सुबह सुबह उठ के चूल्हा चिक्का करना है, यू नो नॉट लाइक दैट, बट ये कॉन्वर्सेशन स्टार्टर्स क्या होंगे, कैसे हम ये बातें इनिशिएट कर सकते हैं किसी के साथ? Is there any soft way to do this, Dr. Hemika? Especially with Anjan, so it's very difficult, but when we see something, we can't stop ourselves. That's where I come from.
See, firstly, there has to be a determination that one has to reach that topic. There is no way out. So when one is determined, रास्ता अपने आप दिखने लगता है, and आपको आगे वाले की उस पर कि उसका मतलब psyche कैसा है, उसका reception कैसा है, depending on that you reach the topic. Not everybody will take every initiative in at your part in the same way. So
Yes.
you need to test the whatever gauge and go about with the topic, but with a firm determination that communication has to be there. Communication should not be stopped at any way. It can be modified and tailored to the needs, but ultimately we have to get the point through. So that determination can be there. There can be mistakes in communication, but then we all learn from our experiences. We'll probably be better at communicating if we have failed attempts also at communicating, but we should keep making attempts, and written trial is one of the best ways to learn communication.
हमारी कोशिश बस यही है कि वापस वो बोले ना कि घर बताओ बस, you know, that's where I start with. Roshni, any tips in where you had to maybe talk to the better half of your employee or even extended? I mean, you've seen a lot of people actually, and have you had any experiences? आपका क्या take है?
So yeah, definitely, like Dr. Hemika said, as human beings, we have to be more observant about what the person is facing in her personal life as well. If she's going through a phase, if she's like we said, motherhood hai, ya kuch extra pressure hai, personal space mein, ya workload hi zyada hai. So as colleagues, as peers and the seniors, थोड़ा सा एक observation हमारे अंदर होना चाहिए that yes, to allow them and to have them, let them have their space, to create that space also, to have that communication in the first place. तो हमारे पास इतना allowance होना चाहिए जहाँ पे हम सामने वाला आके बोल पाए हमें कि I am facing this problem, I am having sleep deprivation, can you please allow me to come in 1 hour late? I will need to settle things at my space. So ये दोनों तरफ से work करेगा. So one, the person has to create that space, and other person has to have that courage to come and speak up that this is my need, this is what I need. So the flow of communication has to be there, which most of the also.
And I love that because until we take a stand, it looks feminist, but until we take a stand for ourselves, वो कभी होगा भी नहीं. I guess कभी होगा भी नहीं. I have got last two favorite questions of mine that I always ask, and Dr. Hemika, to you. But before I ask her, anyone else has any other questions? So yeah, there are questions in the chat, which is asking about anxiety and sleep, the relationship of anxiety and sleep, and the fact that women tend to get a little anxious a little faster. So, and जैसे ही फिर anxiety आ जाती है, वो sleep को affect करता है, and then the whole routine goes to toss. Can you speak a little about that, Hemika ji?
Yes. There is a definite correlation between anxiety and sleep. Anxiety, depression, or any sort of stress, mental stress with sleep, and women are more prone to all these things because we forgot to touch about a very important topic. We talked about the social aspects, but we didn't touch the biological aspects. Women have different biology. They have different hormonal structure. They have estrogen, progesterone, and they have a reproductive cycle as well. They have menarche, then they have menstrual phase, then they have menopause. They also have pregnancy, lactation. They consume oral contraceptive pills. All these things contain hormones, primarily estrogen and progesterone, and administered increase or decrease in the levels of these hormones at different phases in the lives we discussed. They can play havoc with the sleep cycle. All of them affect the sleep cycle in one way or the other. Some increase the sleep amount, some reduce the sleep amount, some improve the quality of sleep, some also deteriorate the quality of sleep. So women are more prone to sleep problems, and sleep problems themselves make a woman prone to anxiety. Anxiety again worsens the sleep. So this becomes a vicious cycle. So this is very true. This is a very well studied thing that women are more prone to anxiety, depression, and these disorders. Also, thyroid disorders are more common in women documented. And
Yes.
thyroid disorders are linked both with anxiety, depression, and with sleep disorders. So women are biologically also more prone to sleep disorders and anxiety disorders.
Anxiety disorders. Gun, we have 3 questions. Gun, you're there on video, so if you can ask, and then I'll take the questions in the chat as well.
So I just wanted to ask, how can I better my sleep? Because being a light sleeper and becoming more lighter, in my sleep, how can I better? What can I do? Is there something I can do before I sleep?
One could take light meals in the night before sleeping, hot bath, avoidance of radiation, electromagnetic visual radiation. That is bad. Not Wi-Fi and all. The studies are not there in Wi-Fi, but visual radiation like laptop and telephones and mobiles, they should be avoided. Then light exercise, light reading, and non-stimulatory environment, which is not very stimulating. We should not have hot chats with people, passionate discussions, and or should be focusing on passionate topics. We should tune off the news, the controversial news. These things should be avoided just before sleeping. And other tips of sleep hygiene, as we already discussed throughout the day, they should also be followed, like caffeinated nicotinic drinks and products should not be consumed, especially with people who are having sleep problems. And if you persist to have sleep problems, please see a specialist. If despite all these sleep hygiene tips which you can follow at home yourself, you are unable to have a refreshing night of sleep, do consult an expert.
So, thank you.
But as she said, she's already, I think, having a lot of medications. वो already बहुत सारी medications है. She's had a journey. In such cases, हम कहते हैं कि यार नींद नहीं आ रही तो natural है. Is that a correct judgment to make?
It could be that she might need a reduction in medicine. So the doctor will see to that. It could be that the medicines are being too much and they're interfering with sleep. There are certain medications. So a review of the whole medicines. I'm not saying that go to the doctor means you add more medicine. Going to the doctor might even lead you to reduce the number of medicines. So a review is important. A review by an expert is important to see whether any adjustment in the medications or a counseling or something else like underlying depressive symptoms, underlying anxiety symptoms are there. Counseling is needed for that. Sometimes even pure counseling can help with sleep if there is an issue or underlying issue which we can pinpoint. So that's all left to the expert. So if you are unable to handle yourself at home, then please do see an expert. Take the help of the resources you already have in society.
In this society, thank you. Yeah, हाँ, डॉक्टर के पास जाना मतलब naturally medicines increase करना. I think वो बना पड़ा है हमारे दिमाग में. But you are saying कि कभी भी कोई नींद की disturbances या persistent disturbances रहेगी, तो ये बात टेबल पे रखने वाली है, डॉक्टर से सलाह करने वाली, एटलीस्ट पूछने के लिए कि ये क्यों हो रहा होगा या क्यों हो रही है.
इसलिए मैं एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट मैसेज आई कैन गिव कि बहुत सारे लोग आके कहते हैं नींद की प्रॉब्लम है, हमें एडिक्टिव दवाई नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन हम 5 साल से एल्ट्रेक्स खा रहे हैं केमिस्ट से लेकर एंड मेडिकेशन विदाउट. लेकिन हमें डॉक्टर की दवाई से डर लगता है क्योंकि डॉक्टर की दवाई की आदत ना लगे. So any medication, and this is again another thing that we say on the show, any medication discussed here, discussed otherwise, please don't take anything. Even paracetamol has to be taken under the guidance of the doctor because it can hurt liver in a long term. So no medication, no sleep medication, over-the-counter medication should be taken without proper prescription. This is one common message that we share around. Just 3-4 minutes to go. Next question, Roshi, it comes to you and comes from a beautiful lady who wants to know about prioritizing. Work में कैसे prioritize किया जाए, that you don't carry it in the head to affect your sleep. What's the best way we can do it?
So prioritization, of course, depends on the nature of the work you are having. But primarily, the way I suggest people to prioritize is to not have too much on your platter, which is like by default a problem that women face. Like I said earlier also, they take too much on their platter more than they can manage. So ek to be very cognizant about how much you can accomplish in one particular day. And please work according to your energies. आप डे को अपना इस तरीके से एनालाइज करो कि आपका बेस्ट वर्जन कब होता है, आप अपने बेस्ट सेल्फ कब होते हैं, आप क्रिएटिव कब होते हो, आप अपना एडमिन काम कब कर सकते हो, आप अपने मीनियल जॉब्स कब कर सकते हो. सो space out your day according to that. So agar for example if someone is a content writer, uske liye writing and being in that creative space is most important. So wo aapka din mein aap kab hote ho, subah ke time hote ho, shaam ke time hote ho, raat ke time hote ho, whatever it works for you. So prioritize your day according to that. And in terms of priorities, as in self priorities or work priorities or relationships and family priorities, that is something which you have to follow your heart as to what works for you best. Are you prioritizing your family, your children, your work? Which is your 1, 2, 3? वो जो एक circle होता है ना, you are focusing on self, then your relationships, then your friends and your relatives. So आपके priorities में क्या है, उसको सबसे ज़्यादा time दीजिए.
Awesome, thank
and
you.
Don't feel guilty about whatever is going out of the window then.
The extras on the plate. Huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm concluding this here because we're already going to be shooting over time while we wrap. And I'm taking it from where Roshni ji just concluded, saying that हमें पहले तो अपने आप और अपने surroundings के बारे में guilt free जानना जरूरी है कि मैं कितना handle कर सकती हूँ as a woman. मेरे लिए फैमिली भी इम्पोर्टेंट होएगा, जॉब भी इम्पोर्टेंट होगा, वी विल हैव रिलेशनशिप्स जिसे हम ही मेंटेन कर सकते हैं, हो सकता है कोई और नहीं कर सकता. अपने प्रायोरिटीज को पहले जानिएगा, प्रायोरिटीज को जानिएगा और उसको हैंडल करिएगा एंड नॉट फील गिल्टी अबाउट व्हाट इज लेफ्ट ओवर. Once we start that and once we take a responsibility for ourselves, then all the excellent advice that Dr. Hemika gave us about how we actually focus on getting a good routine to life, good routine to sleep, knowing that we are unique self. Hum as ladies unique hai, the various hormones that have, it makes us unique the way we are. तो हमें अपने sleep routines follow करना जरूरी है, अपना sleep hygiene follow करना जरूरी है. I've again given the link to a WhatsApp group in this if people want to join in. We keep talking about sleep hygiene, keep posting about it for people who want to see. And following a sleep hygiene actually will go. चाहे पूरे 7 दिन ना कर पाओ, but start it as a practice. Do once a day, 3 times a day, 5 times a day, and then maybe tomorrow you will have it as a habit. So this is what I would like to take away, give as a takeaway for all of you all. Any concluding remarks, Dr. Hemika?
This is a very nice program, but I think this is one of the many future programs which we'll have, I'm expecting. So please keep the good work up.
Thank you. Thank you. Roshni, and any last comments? Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining in and asking such a wonderful questions and making this conversation so meaningful and purposeful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you all. Ending the meeting for now, and I wish you a beautiful week ahead next week. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.